Hey everybody. I've been seeing a lot of questions from new developers, maybe even you guys watching, about the best place to upload your games in terms of exposure and sales. I've also seen a comment by a Reddit user about how many new devs immediately go into Steam without checking out other options. So I've looked at the leading platforms and I just want to break down the pros and cons of each one for you to decide, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. Um, let's start with Steam. They're definitely they're definitely the king on the block. Um, Steam's they're really the number one place that all developers go to sell their games. Does that mean they're the best? Not really, but they do have huge name recognition. It's probably where most gamers are. Gamers, they do love the platform because it's kind of like Walmart. You can find everything there. It's easy to browse. You buy and play, and also putting the game on Steam really doesn't cost you much. You can generate your own keys and sell them elsewhere. Those are the pros. The cons. What are the cons? There's a lot of games on Steam. It's not like the old days when Steam chose which games to take. So now with Steam Direct, everyone can upload their games, and this makes it harder to get the exposure that you need. You can't just put your game on Steam and sit back. You really have to be aggressive and market your game. You got to do giveaways and contests, and otherwise it's just gonna get swallowed up by the gazillions of other games on there. Also, sometime last October, Steam stopped recommending indie games to users. Not really sure why, but game developers have really seen their revenue slashed by half. That's really bad news for us. Also, they just freaking take a lot of money from you. I mean, first you gotta pay Steam $100 to upload your game, and then from what you do sell, Steam they freaking take a 30% commission. Like, I mean, they recently changed their model, but unless you're already selling really a shit ton of games, you're still going to be paying 30%. I mean, you have to sell more than $10 million to get the 25% rate, or more than $50 million to get a 20% commission rate. So that's a little nuts. It's more than a little nuts. Next con for Steam is also you lose control. Once you put your game on there, they take over. So they can put your game out across regional markets. They don't have to tell you. They can even set a different price, and you just won't know anything about it. Sometimes Steam sets regional pricing for your games at 30 to 60% lower than the original US dollar price. And you can change it. Just make sure you check what the prices are in different regions. And one last thing about Steam is that unfiltered customer comments about games were killing indie developers. The good news is that Steam shut down the recommendation platform until they got that fixed. Couldn't come back though, I'm not sure. Look, generally speaking, you have to put your game on Steam. It's a good platform for hosting games and for generating keys, but it's just not so great for selling. I mean, look, you could become really successful on there, but I just don't think that would really work organically. Just putting your game on there, waiting for the recommendation system to work it's just not going to bring you revenue. So that's about Steam. All right, now talk about Epic. Epic, they launched a new online store that's supposed to be better for developers. At least that's their goal. What are the pros? Epic's commission is only 12% from every game. I mean, that's less than half of Steam's commission, right? Like, if Steam's taking 30%, that's 12%, significantly under half. If you build your game on the Epic Unreal Engine and sell only through the Epic Game Store, they'll even waive the 5% royalty fee, which basically means you can earn a lot more on the game than on Steam. It also seems for now the competition on Epic is relatively small. So there's some good things about Epic. Cons about Epic. I'd say the jury's still out on that. There's a lot of stuff to pan out. I'm not sure how it's going to go. One thing I've heard about is how much weight Epic puts on online influencers for promoting games. And we don't know yet if Epic's going to demand exclusivity from us. There are some open questions about it, like how the recommendation system is going to work, and are players going to treat Epic as a place to browse and explore games? I don't know. Only time really tell on that one. So for right now, I'm thinking Epic could be a great platform. We're just gonna have to keep our eye on it, see which way it goes. They are just starting out. They're just getting started in the business, so you could expect them to offer more. We'll just have to see. Itch.io is a platform with some good potential. I like the creative way they're going about setting up a platform that's looking out for devs. It's not in the big leagues like Steam and Epic, but it is getting a lot of play. It's popular with gamers looking for something new. Also, that makes it really a good platform for indie games, since users are already coming in more open-minded. One big pro for itch.io is the money reality. You could set your own ratio, even at 0, if you can't afford it. I was actually wondering how that was going to work. Like, why wouldn't everybody just set it at 0? So I looked at their site. They say it's the risk they're willing to take in the spirit of encouraging the generous and supportive community that's already developed around itch.io. That's what they say on the site. I guess in the public interest, most developers are splitting the commission around 8%. Bear in mind, though, they don't offer DRM, which means that anyone can download the game just as you uploaded it. So it could wind up on torrent sites. So that's just something you're going to have to keep in mind. I'm going to keep my eye on itch.io. I don't really see any cons right now, except that they're just not very popular. So it's a pretty small client base. So you just don't count on it as your only platform. Maybe I'll have something to tell you more at a later time, later video on that. So that's about that. Next we have GOG.com. There's a lot to like about GOG.com. One cool feature is you can opt for an advance on your royalties if you need it. So that's great for you indies who are still going paycheck to paycheck. You do need to pay the advance back though. So until you do, the revenue is split 60-40 on each game. So I really wouldn't take too long paying it back. It's not free money, but it could definitely help you out at the start. Negatives about GOG.com is, getting your game on there is not always easy. They are picky and they only accept a limited number of games. But if you can get your games on there, you're going to be great, because they've got tens of millions of users. Exposure like that and potential sales, that's not something to take lightly. Again, like itch.io, they don't offer DRM, and that means that really anyone can download the game, and it could wind up on torrent sites, so I just really need to keep that in mind. Definitely. So everything we talked about till now, we talked about Steam and Epic, itch.io, and GOG.com. All of those are so-called CDNs, but they aren't the only revenue streams available to devs. As Steam and other CDNs let you generate your keys and sell them elsewhere, you could actually generate keys and try to reach new markets on marketplaces. A lot of devs do that, even if they don't really admit it. It's just because, they may have a shady reputation, but marketplaces like G2A or Kinguin are actually very good to sell your keys, and they have improved a lot. Couple reasons. One is the commission. G2A and Kinguin take about 11% per item sold by a seller, and they both also charge 35 euro cents per listing. The only significant difference is Kinguin has a smaller client base, and games may take longer to sell. You can definitely try both, see what works for you. Just remember, people buying on marketplaces do expect cheaper games, so it's worth it to give them a discount of at least 15 to 20%. Both G2A and Kinguin, they have their own programs dedicated to indie devs. G2A Direct, Kinguin Indie Valley. G2A Direct, it is especially promising because you can get 10% commission from your games sold by resellers on there, on G2A. But I know a few devs who say that Steam gave them a hard time for partnering with marketplaces, so it's really up for you. It's up to you to decide whether it's worth it for you or not. That's about marketplaces. So since we've been talking about marketplaces and reselling keys, just a little advice about how you can compete with key resellers and their low prices on marketplaces. I definitely try not to sell your keys in bulk. If you sell them to bundle sites, they'll probably just end up getting resold for cheap. Also, really stay away from huge giveaways. If you don't participate in them, then there'd be no keys to resell in the first place, and you'd be able to set the prices anywhere you want. So that's on that. There is one last option. A notorious eStore. Definitely having your own eStore gives you lots of independence and freedom to do what you want. But I'm not sure that's enough to counter all the negatives that go along with it. I mean, there's just so much bullshit. You have to set up the site. You've got to get a security system so people don't scam you. You need freaking anti-fraud software. You need a payment service like PayPal or some other money transfer platform. The list just goes on and on. And on top of all that, you still have to market the site yourself. So we're talking about all this stuff that really has nothing to do with your game itself. It's just all the business bullshit involved. I just think a personal eStore like that, it's just a big headache. It's just not. You're putting so many resources into it. It's just not worth the time or energy unless you're really huge and have like 12 plus games in your portfolio. So it's just not. I want to say not the way to go. Bottom line of this whole thing, I tend to like Epic. Like I said, the jury's still out. We will have to wait and see how everything's going to iron out, but it does sound promising. You don't want to ignore Steam. It is the monopoly, and honestly, unless Epic turns things around, you just can't avoid them. At the same time, and you're keeping your eyes wide open. You really have to keep your eyes wide open to the negatives. But if you can put your game in a lot of different places, just do that. No need to keep it only on Steam unless you're really good at marketing and you don't want to be bothered with different contracts and payouts, etc. Once you test each platform, you'll know which works best for you and your game and where you can get the most users and money. If your game's good, it's better to have more players than earn more money. At least that's the way I see it. Definitely exposure is, I would put a premium on exposure. So try some of the marketplaces, which is kind of like having your own eStore just without all the hassle. Consider some of the smaller platforms like GOG.com. Just don't block yourself out to revenue streams, and just make sure to do your own research, as that can make or break a game dev, even if you really have a good game to offer. That's my 2 cents on that. Thanks for listening, and any feedback, anything you want to tell me, disagree, I don't know, anything you want to, thing you have to say, just write in the comments below. If you like what you've heard, like and share the video, and again, feel free. I'll get to it. I'll look at it, and all right, that's all for now till the next time, and all right.